Well, it's time to watch Jonathan Hunt, and those of you who have been following the material as long as me might remember Jonathan back when they were holding demonstrations, and Jonathan had, yeah, it still gives me the chuckles, one of the truly great board meetings back when Rick Van Beveren was president. Let's take a look at that for a minute before we start.
With respect to safety, perhaps you missed my statement at the beginning that the board does intend to hold management accountable and has expectations that we clearly laid out.
Well, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, if we don't follow the collective bargaining agreement that speaks that both parties, it is not just your responsibility, it is not just Trimet management's responsibility, it is all of our responsibility on safety. If you don't bring us to the table, if you don't listen to our concerns, all you're going to do is get a whitewashed version. And
John, I understand that. Okay, I understand that. I made a very strong statement. I made a very strong statement at the beginning of this session that everybody heard in this room. We are going to hold management accountable for improved safety now. All right? Got that? That's it? Thank you for your testimony. That is all.
Because what's going to happen next?
That is all.
Safety stands.
Jonathan, you're done. You're done.
I'm not done, sir, and I will continue to speak on the issue until I am carted out of this room. You need to have respect for our membership, and you need to understand that making a statement is different than doing action. You take action. Gotta go. Membership without the leash, and you are not harmed. You're going to continue that it's easy and hard to work out. You work against it. You will not work. I implore all of you. You've got to go. And understand, this will not stop. We will deal.
To this day, I think this is one of the greatest moments in Trimet history, long forgotten except for people like me. And they're still fighting this battle. Okay, that battle started way back. And there was Jonathan fighting the battle. You saw McFarlane sitting there next to that goddamn ghoul. What the hell was his name? I don't even remember. That's the council before they went through all the other, sitting there like a goat boot, like this. This anti-union shit's been going on since McFarlane, okay, and it's still going on. And so, is it ever going to end? Is it ever going to end? I don't know. But anyway, let's update. Let's fast forward to eight years. Okay, it was 8 years ago, I believe, that video was that incident happened. So let's see where nothing's really changed. It's been one union busting thing after another. And so let's listen to Jonathan.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
President Warner, members of the board.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, John.
So we just settled a collective bargaining agreement. One would think that things moving forward in a positive manner would be first and foremost. But no sooner have we
And look at this motherfucker McFarlane in the back. I was watching McFarlane during this goddamn smirk on his goddamn face over all of this shit. I mean, it makes me sick that this guy is smirking over this shit.
We completed the typeset of this contract that the board has approved and the membership has ratified. Trimet has already started violating that contract. And
he's not lying about that. Right after they signed the new contract, what do? They started looking for loopholes immediately. Started immediately looking for loopholes and ways to screw over the union workforce. And one of the major screw overs was they eliminated the second week of holdback for long-term employees. Employees who had good work records were allowed to hold back 1 week of vacation to take as individual days, but the Trimet executive management decided to say, no, you don't have to do that, because apparently a T and I wasn't dotted sometime in the past by the union. So they're like, hey, we got you. You don't have, we're not going to give you your second week holdback because you didn't cross your T's and dot your I's. So this is the management already being the pieces of shit that they are.
Several years ago, there was a state audit report that was conducted, and there were various issues that came out of that report. One of them was the communication between Trimet and the leadership and members of ATU 757, who represent 3,200 active employees and over 1,000 retirees. My question to you, Doug, is will you support an independent audit to look at those issues that we identified previously, or rather the independent report identified, and where are we at currently today with those areas that needed to be improved?
Well, I haven't had the privilege of reading the past audit to comment whether a new audit might be needed. So today, I'm not necessarily prepared to give you the answer you might want to hear. I'd rather go back and understand the past audit first and reconcile that one.
Okay, that's very important that he's just stated for the record that he doesn't know anything about the state audit. He doesn't know anything about the past. This is the point of why Kelsey was the wrong guy, okay, because he has been 2 years brainwashed by McFarland, taught the ropes by McFarland. McFarland has given him the direction, which is why he is now in charge. McFarland has said to him, this is the agenda I was following from Fred way back when Fred Hansen, and we're still following the same agenda. And so he's not telling him anything about the past, okay? And those of you who remember the whitewash Secretary of State, who is now the governor, she whitewashed that audit, but she did make some certain comments in there that the communication and the work morale and the cooperation with the union needs work, but nothing has happened since then. These things don't mean anything to Trimet. Trimet is its own country. They don't answer to anybody, and they don't care what the public thinks, and they don't care what the employees think. They're aristocrats, okay? They're like Marie Antoinette. Let them eat cake. They don't care. They don't give a flying fuck what the employees or the public think. And all of this masquerading that they care is nothing but lies, okay? So Kelsey doesn't know anything about the audit. Well, isn't that something? I mean, what else do you need to know?
First, John.
Well, Doug, you have been on property for how long now?
I'm sorry. I was just also going to add, in terms of meeting, I can give you a few examples personally. I met with Shirley Block just 2 days ago. I met with Anthony and Shirley the first, I think mid-December, I think it was. So I meet with union members, retirees, almost on a weekly basis. So I think part of trying to be connected, you can never do enough. But I know as a personal style, I think it is important to have that openness, have these discussions. So I think having that ability and willingness to collaborate, I think for me is important as the spirit. So I just would add that from one of your first parts of the question.
So you've heard from President Block that has concerns, and you've heard from Anthony Forrester, who has some concerns on the current style and the way the current administration is going. And we see you as part of the current administration. So as we're looking at, one, we're a little disappointed on how the communication has come forward, and quite frankly, our participation in this. While President Warner did indicate that there was conversations with ATU, those issues were seeked out by ATU. And unfortunately, while you just have briefly met with our officers, this ongoing area of a partnership, and I appreciate and your opening statements of the importance of partnerships, and I appreciate hearing that safety is first and foremost. However, when we create a culture where people won't disclose, I have a problem or I have an issue, that creates an environment that says, you know what?
I hope you can see McFarland smirking in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. That's really, McFarland, I'm surprised at you. Okay, I thought you were a professional, but you're not. You're smirking about this, which means you should be sitting there like Shelley, what's her name, Levine, deadpan. But he's over there smirking like I know why he's smirking. He's walking out the door. They're going to hand him a $200,000 check the day he walks out. He's got a $200,000 check, $14,000 a month for life. Of course he's smirking. He's got it made, man. He's got his riverfront. The waterfront condo he bought was probably for a couple million, and the mortgage payment's easily covered by his taxpayer-funded luxury lifestyle for the rest of his life. God bless America, the land of the fucking free.
But if I say anything, I'll be terminated. And I'll digress just briefly. You have a subcontractor, and I heard your statements that you believe subcontracting in areas are appropriate. We have several individuals, in my understanding through your office, were terminated for going to the bathroom. And their choice at that particular moment was to either urinate on themselves or to void in a location that was probably not best suited for anyone. Mm-hmm. However, this agency has taken the approach that those individuals in those circumstances should have urinated on themselves in order not to disrespect or create a problem. I'm sure you're aware of this issue. Yes?
I'm actually not aware of it.
Oh, okay.
So this is all new.
He's not aware of it. He's not aware of any. I don't know about any of the problems. I'm sorry. I just don't know. This is your next general manager, folks.
To me, so it on the surface is what you've outlined. It doesn't pass a natural test of reasonableness. I always think it's important to look into what does the spectrum of facts look like that goes with this, but on the surface you go, wow, it doesn't pass the test. So first time I'm hearing of this, and happy to have our team look into it.
Would it surprise you that we are now, even though we have a collective bargaining agreement, over 3,000 members that are contained in this? There was a certification to accrete our on-street folks into that collective bargaining agreement. There was there may have been a dispute at the beginning, but at the end of the day, it was certified and was put forward. Those individuals should receive everything within that collective bargaining agreement, right, up to the issues that we were still bargaining. Would it surprise you that we're going to interest arbitration and spending taxpayer dollars for less than 10 individuals for a pay issue? Mm-hmm. Those individuals are our frontline folks out there that don't have a phone to be able.
He's talking about the customer service people. They're actually union employees. They're supposed to be covered under the bargaining agreement, but there's a whole big argument about that. But, Trimet is an anti-union organization. You have to understand that. In Oregon, they are the #1 anti-union organization. That's basically because bus drivers we don't have political power. You don't see them messing with the city employees. They try to mess with the state employees, but they back off immediately because those employees have political power. But the Trimet bus drivers don't. So we're getting bullied by the Trimet executives because we don't have any political pull.
Hang up that are dealing with questions from out-of-towners, from people who are out there. Yet Trimet has identified that should be the lowest paid wage in this organization. And it just doesn't seem right. When I'm looking at an agency my frustration, and I appreciate you willingness to help in that, is that we're not having communication. You and I have spoke very briefly in your tenure that you've been here. That opportunity to collaborate, you guys set the schedules. You set your mission, you talk with the board, and you create a long-term plan. But the fundamental people that help make that happen are left out or are left at the end. Here's a little thanks. That doesn't work for us anymore. It doesn't work for this community. I have been in unfair labor practice hearings. I've spent the entire day in my opinion, listening to gobbledygook from your management staff that is out of touch and is unable to recognize some very basic issues that are happening at the workforce. If you look back at that audit report, and I hope you do, and I hope you come forward and go, you know what, here's an issue that people outside of this agency said we should look at. So we should do a follow-up to that. And it would surprise you that today, the morale at this location is at its all-time low. And I'm not just talking our members. I'm talking the mass exodus of your upper management, either by your stroke of your pen or by somebody else's. The amount of energy that we're hearing, the thumb that is placed on your management staff, which is why our president asked if you would allow your managers to do their job. Because what we have found out, and what those managers who have been terminated or let go have communicated with us, is they're being told you either do it our way, which at times is unethical, unacceptable, or the highway. And if you look back, if we just have a third party, I recognize we're probably not going to agree today on those.
Jonathan, do you have a question?
I'm following up, which is...
And there goes Bruce Warner, the main hack, trying to get Jonathan off the podium because he doesn't want to hear this. And I'm going to say it again because it's important to understand. The Trimet board is there to protect the general manager. They're not there for the employees. They're not there for the public. You've got to get this understood that this is not an organization that cares about the people. I know they have a multi-million-dollar PR agent's budget to try to convince you otherwise. But the facts are they don't give a fuck about you. And you can see that here. Why wouldn't he just let him go on? He doesn't want to hear it. That's why.
Why I'm asking that if you're able to get this very prestigious and honored position, that you recognize the other side of what happens, because I can tell you, it's not. And if you would allow a third party to do an investigation on why all of your management people have left and where are we at currently, I think we can get a little bit of an insight. I recognize that safety is the first and foremost, and I champion that and I put it forward. Yeah. I also believe health is really important. Yeah. Would it surprise you, though, we're not talking about how to make people healthier. We're not. And I would love to do that. I'd love the next time somebody says, let's have a health fair, the first person they call is me and says, how can we make it really robust? How can we make sure people, we used to get artery checks. We had an individual.
Jonathan, I appreciate your points. I think the question was all about union relationships and willingness to work with you. I don't know whether you have any other answer you'd like to give before we need to move on.
I mean, I just think I think congratulations to all parties on a successful collective wage agreement that was negotiated openly. I think that's a good success, and I do think listening and being collaborative is important. Doesn't mean, as Shirley and I have spoken about, doesn't mean we always agree. There's many things we won't agree on, but that's okay. I think what is important is to disagree, but not misunderstand. And I think, if we need to invest more in that, then happy to do some of that, absolutely. Am I prepared to commit to an audit as you would initially commit? Not at this time, but I think I am prepared to definitely take the old audit out and have a look at it, John, for the purpose of today.
Well, we look forward to hearing from you. I'd like to sit down and discuss these important issues in a different fashion, a different area. At the end of the day, our jobs are not that far apart. And the issue, however, I represent another 23 separate contracts, and our schedules and time are pretty limited. So while we have made ourselves available, we haven't heard anybody from the other side. Now, we do have some dates scheduled in March or late February to discuss some of these issues, and I'm hoping that collectively staff has gotten together and maybe through the board and go, okay, here's an opportunity to have a conversation. Let's not waste it. And when we say we're moving it forward to an arbitration to a third party, I hope that at some point that comes across all of your guys' desk and somebody's going, really? Why can't we settle this? I think both parties need to be asked, why isn't that issue getting settled?
Points well taken, Jonathan.
Thank you
Appreciate
for your time.
This reminds me of the Van Beveren incident. And, Van Beveren was removed. And Warner was put in as the chair. Warner had no experience on the Trimet board, but he was installed by Kitzhaber, who had to resign in disgrace because he's a disgraceful character. But Warner was put in as the president. He had never been on the Trimet board. Here, Warner, you're in charge now. And that's because he's a hack, and he knows how to be a hack. Okay? He knows how to be the hack that they need. Okay? This is not, Johnson's not making this shit up, okay? The union side can't get any kind of public relations because the mainstream media is only on Trimet's side. They own mainstream media. Okay, the union and the operators can't get any traction when it comes to mainstream because the entire Oregon system, the entire Oregon government has been controlled by insiders for so long. They control every single lever. They control the government. They control the media. They control everything. So even though they have this, we're the big liberal blue. We're blue. It's a complete farce, man. Okay, they're not blue. They're as bad as anybody, all right? It's a masquerade. It's fake. Just, I don't know how to get this point across. They've done nothing but screw with the union employees since McFarland. And there's no indication at all that Kelsey's going to do anything different. And, I don't envy Jonathan and whoever, and Shirley and anybody else who takes that job. Because these people are high-priced fucking hacks, okay? And these are neoliberal hacks. These are the people that Thomas Frank talks about as these meritocracy. They come from colleges and they think they're better than everybody else, and they don't have to listen to you. That's what you're dealing with, okay? You're dealing with an arrogant aristocracy who doesn't give a flying fuck what you, the public, or what you, the employee, think.